Hear that sound? We're back in the garage with Bodie Stroud.
Hello and welcome back to In the Garage. I want to thank Sean for joining us from Quickwire. It's pretty cool. Learned a few things. Taught us a couple things too. I didn't know they had so many disconnect switches.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought they only had the one with the red key.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of that one, so
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll be, even if they do have more, if they'll be able to steer me away from it.
Sounds like you hate change, Mitchell.
Yeah, this is true.
Hey, you got a haircut. Looking good today.
Thanks.
Ah, shoot.
Glad there's a table between us.
Oh, man.
But yeah, one thing I think we forgot and we should stress to the people doing it at home as far as the wiring is you can never have enough grounds.
Yes, never enough grounds. We've been there to where we've just been moving so fast that we forgot to tighten the main ground, and there was just this little tiny ground grounding out the whole car from body to chassis, and
That's how you let the smoke out.
that's how you let the smoke out. You
So
want to
don't do
see
that.
smoke real quick, go ahead and do that. Try and fire it up with just that little wiring.
Yes, you always want to make sure you have a good, clean metal-to-metal ground straight to your chassis and straight to your body.
Yeah. That is important. What else?
Well,
I'm putting you on the spot, man.
Yeah. I think, the next biggest part is definitely the preparation. I know Quickwire lays everything out really nicely and groups everything, but still you should go over and look at every wire before you finalize where you're going to run them, because sometimes, like, we do a lot of heavy modifications and we'll put things in the trunk that are normally somewhere else, so sometimes you need to reroute wires and make sure you do that before you put like the split loom on or start heat shrinking a whole group of wires together,
Yeah.
because once that's done it can get difficult to start adding wires and make it look clean.
Oh, yeah. You want to try and keep, find a nice place to mount your box, the loom, the fuse panel, and then you want to try and get away with as without too many splices. As the less splices you have in a wire all the way to where it's going, the better. So.
Yeah, definitely, because then there's no chances of having a connection problem in between.
Yeah.
You'd either, you can either look at the box or look at right where it's plugged in, and that's all you have to worry about.
Because that's going to confuse the hell out of you. You're going, oh, my God, where's the problem at? I only added
Yeah.
about 50 splices, so it could be anywhere. So you're up in the odds that you're going to have a problem. So that's all that does. But, I mean, and then hiding them. It's you just want to, like I said, mount the fuse panel somewhere, and like Mitchell was saying, run all the wires. You got your headlight pack, you got your ignition, you got your alternator. Just run all that stuff out. Find a path, and don't bolt anything up. Don't start cutting wires. And I know everybody wants to hurry up and do it. Just run them, get them to where they're going. Make sure there's plenty of room. Maybe even just walk away from that area and keep thinking about it and staring at it for a while. Go back and forth. Then run all your rears, your tail lights, your fuel sending unit, fuel pump, all that stuff. Run it back, and always leave extra wire. Try not to pull it tight because you're going to kill yourself. You can always, leave some wire at the box, the fuse box, and then because there's nothing worse than being an inch away from where you need to be and you're yanking on that wire as hard as you can. All you're doing is you're just making it miserable, and then you have no choice but to splice a wire. And if you do, I highly recommend soldering it of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
We get those cool little terminals that have the solder built in them, to where we take a little torch and you torch it up. You just stick it on, you torch it, and it actually melts the solder onto the wire, so it makes a solder connection, and then also it's built out of shrink wrap pretty much, and it melts to the wire. So they're really cool. Takes a lot of of, you don't want to drop your soldering iron on your brand new carpet job. You know what I mean? So it takes a lot of that out of it. The fear of leaving it's kind of like chicks with curling irons. You know what I mean? Leaving them plugged in all day and then coming home and it's you got your brand new linoleum countertop. I don't know if it's got a linoleum countertop. Oh, shoot. But anyways, we were supposed to have Shannon with us, but he's at a car show, so I don't know if he's he's out in Ventura, so I don't know if he's going to be able to make it or call in, or if he even remembered.
Hopefully he does.
Yeah, hopefully he does, but whatever. What are some more things about wiring? It's it's important as well to, like we were talking, is to look at every component. When you pull a component out of the box, just make sure you see how many amps it's drawing, and then know your wiring. Know how many amps a 12 gauge wire draws, how many amps a 14 gauge wire, and so on. 10 gauge, the lower the number, the bigger the wire. Always remember that too. It's always reversed. It's almost like rear ends,
Yeah.
It's opposite, and sometimes it gets confusing, when you're setting up a rear end and you're talking, the lower the number, the taller the gear, so it's kind of backwards sometimes, but if you remember that stuff.
Yes, like a 1 gauge wire is bigger around than a 12 gauge wire. So
a lot.
Yes.
And if you can't see the difference between those two, you're in trouble.
That was a battery cable versus a little tiny inside wire.
Yeah. But what else do we got here? We got a lot of questions too. And if you got a 6-volt car and you want to rewire that thing, or you want to just convert it to 12 volt, let's talk about that. We'll talk about that when we come back from our next segment, because I guess Shannon's not going to be calling in. The heck, Shannon? Anyways, that's all right, because we got plenty to talk about. We got lots of questions that people ask, so we'll just go over the questions here, and then we'll talk about converting from 6 volt to 12 volt.
Need to check your oil? Be quick, because we'll be right back in the garage with Bodie Stroud.